Today we're gonna talk about some upgrades you can make to your mobile rig. Now this might be your van, a truck, a sedan, a Wrangler, right? This is very dependent on your setup, on where you are with your business, on your budget, and the services that you offer. This isn't meant to be like, oh, this is exactly what you're supposed to do. It's more so like, think about what you have right now and what you can do and what upgrades you can make to be more efficient, or to make things more convenient, or to be able to offer a better service, right? So adapt what I say and make it fit your specific situation. Now, if you are looking to start and grow your business, you can check out the ultimate guide to start your detailing business down in the description box. It has over 10,000 words of pure content. Now, I've said this time and time again, but we do not have the fanciest looking van. We have a pretty basic, cheap setup that we have, but it gets the job done. And that's what I definitely want to recommend to you, is that don't get too caught up in the, oh my God, I want it to make it look cool and amazing, and I want diamond plating this, and I want to black it out. Like, over time, yeah, sure. But the goal should be to be able to operate your business, to be more efficient, and to offer great results, and to make money. Let that be the priority. The good looks part can come afterwards. Number one is gonna be upgrading your hoses to actual reels. Now, the most basic one you can start off with is using an electrical reel in your setup and plugging it into your generator and just putting it somewhere. That way, instead of have to use the actual electrical cord and reeling it out and setting it up, you can literally just get your reel, depending on what machine you're using, of course, and you can literally just walk out and start using it like that. Now, the limitation to this is really gonna be the size of your setup and what equipment you have. Because if you're working out of a Wrangler, just space-wise and what you can do, and if it's still your personal vehicle, you can only do so much. So really look at what you're using and see, like, I think a pretty common one that makes sense for everyone is your pressure washer reel or your vacuum reel. If you can put either of those on a reel to help speed up the process, or at least make your life easier and more convenient to take out the hoses, it will make a big difference. So for us, our vacuum hose, the extractor hose, one electrical reel, the pressure washer hose, the air compressor hose, all those things are on reels. And now anytime we get to any job site, we never have to like spend time like untangling something or getting something out. We're able to just simply turn on the machines, unhook or unlock the reels, and then just pull them out and then get to whatever we need to get to. Upgrade number two, it's gonna be buying a generator that's strong enough to power all your machines. Now this is a big one, because depending on the extractor, the steamer, the polishers, the vacuum, the air compressor, right, you obviously need power, right, to get those machines running. Now, if you have the air compressor, extractor, steamer, and depending how you work, you need 2-3 machines running at a time. If you don't have a big enough generator, you're gonna have to finesse how you run the machines to be able to use all of them, right? So if you're using a Predator 2000 or a 3500, right, and you want to run a polisher and an air compressor and maybe even your pressure washer, right, I don't know, you might not be able to do all that all at once because you don't have enough power to power the machines. So with this Predator 8750, we're basically able to turn everything on at the same time, minus the extractor or pressure washer. Those things have to have one or the other, but we can run the pressure washer, the air compressor, the whatever else while it's on. Now, when I had the Predator 2000, or the Honda 2000, which is like a very, very, very entry-level generator you can have, that can't power much. No, don't get me wrong, it's a great starter, right? If you want to power your pressure washer or vacuum or something, like, it's great, fantastic. But the problem is, if you want to run 2 machines on a small generator, you're not going to be able to. It just doesn't have enough power. So we have the Predator 2000, the Predator 3500, and now we have the Predator 8750. And the drawback to it's like, yes, it's very strong. It's able to power everything. The drawback being is that it's a lot bigger now. So if it's a lot bigger machine, you need a lot more space, which means you have to configure your setup and your van and your space to be able to handle that bigger unit. Like if this was in a regular van, like a Ford Transit, this will take up a large portion of the back space, and you have to really build around this generator because like it's pretty large. Thankfully, we have like a big van that can take a lot of, that has a lot of space. But if again, it all comes down to like where you are in your business, but like having a generator that you don't have to have the hassle and fight through the obstacles of trying to make sure you have enough power and you can just turn everything on makes a big difference. Next is choosing the machines that helps you get the job done. So that means if you are right now plugging into the customer's power and water, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. I did that for 7 years. But if you're ready to start being more self-sufficient, then you're probably gonna wanna start off with a pressure washer. Now again, the pressure washer configuration is going to be totally dependent on you. If it's going to be gravity fed, are you going to have a pump? Are you going to have a pump that's inside the pressure washer? That comes at a much higher price point, but that's also an option. And then what water tank size do you want? We started off with a 50-gallon drum, and then we upgraded to a 150-gallon container that we have back here. And we started off with a $100 Greenworks pressure washer. Now we have the Karcher the Blue Clean 6600, something like that, which is like 600, 700 bucks. But once you start building out your actual equipment to be self-sufficient, it does make your life a lot more convenient. And as you'll see the theme of what I'm saying, this is to make your operations, your efficiency, your business a lot more efficient, but also just way more convenient. Instead of having to look for the hose or look for the plug or do these things or take everything down, like, you know, okay, cool, I'm gonna open up my van or truck or whatever, I'm gonna turn the generator on, turn on the pressure washer, turn on the whatever, and I get to work. Like, that's how straightforward it is. And please keep in mind, you don't have to go with the most expensive. You don't have to go spend $1,200 on a pressure washer. A $150 Karcher 1700 with a pressure washer reel on a 35-gallon tank will help you get started. Like, there are people running those setups in a sedan, in a Wrangler, in a whatever. Like, there are people with those setups that are being more self-sufficient with the most basic and simple and not expensive setup. So don't think again like, okay, cool, I have to go and buy next. Like, no, you can keep things very simple. Next, you just look at your setup again and say, okay, what's the next tool that I need, right? You have the pressure washer, you have the let's say you have the tank. But now it's like, okay, well, maybe I should put it on a reel, right? Or maybe next thing is like, man, for the interiors, like I'm taking too long, I need an air compressor. Okay, fantastic. Then, you know, what air compressor? I'm gonna put it on a reel. How long is the hose? Like, you know, whatever, like, do you have enough power? And yes, upgrading is very fun, but realize that like, that's what starts to change your mobile setup and how you operate. Because you might say, oh, well, okay, I have my pressure washer, water tank, and it's set up. Now I want an air compressor. And you might say, okay, cool. Oh, but I can't run them both at the same time for whatever reason, right? Let's just go with that. And it's like, oh, well, I need a bigger generator. And it's like, okay, well, now you physically cannot get a bigger generator because your vehicle does not have the space to take a bigger generator, right? So that's just naturally how it goes. It's not like we just said, okay, hey, we want all these machines and all these reels and this big generator. Let's go get it right now. It's like over time, little by little, like, oh, okay, yeah, this doesn't make sense. Oh, okay. You know what, finally, let's actually try to think about getting a bigger unit. So over time, things progress and you kind of look at your setup differently. So now let's talk about some more basic tools that you need. And this is gonna be a garden hose. Now, yes, I just talked about having a bigger setup is more convenient and it helps you out, but machines are machines. They might break, malfunction, whatever. And you need a backup contingency plan. So just the other day, we were working at a mobile job site and our pressure washer gave out. So, you know, when that happened, I literally bought this about like 5 years ago for like $30 at Target. And whenever the pressure washer went out, we just literally got this hose, hooked it up to the spigot, and we did a wash. We did the service by just using a garden hose. It's not ideal, you can't do the whole setup that you normally do, but it's like, it's a very simple, easy workaround, right? A machine's a machine. Eventually something's gonna give out, slow down, have a little glitch, have a little problem. It might be out for service. Like, having just a simple little $30 hose can get you out of a problem that, you know, obviously you don't want to happen. But having simple contingency plans in place makes a big difference. So I would always carry a garden hose in your setup for a last minute problem that you need to solve. Next up on the list is going with some cordless machines. So the main cordless equipment that we have is obviously your cordless drill, a cordless vacuum, and a cordless blower. Now, a few reasons for this. One is that you don't rely on the generator. So, like for instance, when we're done with a wash, right? Once it gets to the drying process, we can turn off the generator because we don't need it to power the cordless. We have the cordless the cordless blower is cordless, so we can just run it off the batteries. Now this makes such a big difference in terms of turning off the generator and it not making so much noise. Like every time that we're mobile and we're running the extractor and vacuum and air compressor, and then we're running the pressure washer, that buzzing noise after so many hours gets very annoying. And the faster you can turn off the generator, the better it is for everyone, for the neighbors, for yourself. Like, you just don't want to hear it after so many hours. So when you're on a cordless blower or drill, you don't have the like, maybe you need to do a quick little spot cleaning on a seat or whatever. Like, instead of turning on the generator, getting the hose out, whatever, you can just turn it on and get straight to work. So it does add a level of convenience to be able to turn off the generator faster. Or maybe something goes wrong with the generator and you still need to do this one thing. Well, since it's cordless, you can still go do that. Or another example is using the cordless vacuum as the final vac in our process, meaning once we're all done, again, like you have the doors open so debris kind of flies in here and there a little bit. So instead of having to turn on the generator and turning on the vacuum and pulling out the vacuum hose, instead we just grab the cordless vacuum and use that as the final vacuum. And again, we're not using the generator for the noise. It's so much easier just to grab the cordless vacuum and walk straight to the car and get that job done without having to do all these other things. So, and same thing applies for the blower as well. You can turn off the generator, you can just grab it, you can walk around the vehicle without having to fight a cord or people like jumping over it or dragging dirt across the surface or anything. You can just walk around and blow the vehicle down, and it makes it's a lot more convenient. Obviously with this one, you need to make sure you have batteries, because if you just have one and it dies, you're out of luck. So you always want at least 2 batteries for the machine that you're using, and you always need to make sure that they're fully charged. So there's also other layers of, you know, things you have to do to make sure it's gonna run smoothly. But like everything else, like, you're running a business here, right? Like, you have to plan, you have to make sure you're prepared, you have to make sure you have things in place. That way, if something goes wrong or something doesn't go as planned, like, you have contingencies in place to make sure you're still able to get the job done. That's literally how it's supposed to go. And again, over time, right? Like right now, you might just get 1 battery because that's what it comes with. In a few months, yeah, let me buy that extra battery because it almost died last time. I want to make sure it doesn't die on me, so let me buy that second battery now. So that's how it's gonna work. That's how we've done it. We have a bunch of batteries now, but that's literally been accumulated over time. As we buy more DeWalt tools, it's like, okay, let's get a few more sets just in case like we run out. Like, we want to make sure we have enough batteries. And that's gonna wrap up this video. Hopefully you learned something. Again, the main thing I want to really point out is this happens over time as your business progresses. You don't have to go and purchase everything because you want to feel cool, you want to feel like a business. Buy what makes sense and upgrade over time. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you on the next one.